don't mind, me, I like calling mom because I know someone that gets me that way. See, let me tell you guys, as you're also planning for yourself, I always tell parents, as you're planning this greatness for your children, are you also planning to be the parent of a great person? Are you designing the journey of your own greatness? Because you see, great people are not easy people. They will push boundaries. They will put your heart in their, they'll make you put your heart in your mouth. They will make you go on your knees every day and say, God, this child has started again. Why is it that they will not follow the status quo? Why do they always push things? Why is it that they will not do what they are made to do? Just like yesterday, my uncle came to visit with my cousin, and casually, my cousin, he said, ask your cousin what's doing now. He said, I have left the job with Fidelity, that there's one incubator, something. They are starting 500 child, something. My uncle, I said, like that. You didn't even wait for this incubator to first kick off before you leave. He said, I was bored.
Oh my God.
Brenda, somebody's reason for leaving a job that their father sweated to find for them because
He's
they are bored.
The children nowadays are something else.
Exactly. The way Jesus got missing in the temple. Great
Let me tell you,
do not follow straight path.
You see, this thing Ijoma just said, this thing Ijoma just said, just reminded me of something. So I have a very spirited child, and I use the word spirited very carefully. And I always used to wonder, this is the child that would push your buttons, that would question everything, that would, want to just go in the opposite direction where everybody else is going. And you're wondering, why can't you just be, straight and narrow? And, I prayed and said, God, just help me. I don't want to get it wrong with this child. And then one day I was reading the Bible and I saw that account of Jesus, right? That account of Jesus that when he got missing in the temple. And it was very instructive because he got missing. Like, he didn't get missing. He just stayed back, right? He didn't literally get missing. He just stayed back. He wanted to do his own thing. And parents discovered later that he was missing. Please, Nigerian mother, insert yourself in that situation. If you came back to that temple and met that child and said, why are you here? Don't you know your father and I will be looking for you? And then the child will now have the guts to tell you, why were you looking for me? Didn't you know I'll be in my father's house? Please answer like an African mother.
Answer. It's a background. Excuse me.
Just answer as an African mother. What would you do to that child? So that day I read that scripture, it just came new to me. Like, oh my God. His mother and father realized that they had a spirited child, realized that they had a wise child, realized that, this is no ordinary child. And instead of training a major feat in that temple, just told him, oh yeah, let's be going home. Thank you, we are tired. So there is a way to deal with spirited children. And it's not by beating and kicking and screaming. It is not. So you would design the journey for that your spirited child differently from the one that you design for the one that is or conformist. You best reset his brain. You know this, Doris.
That's now.
First things first.
That's now.
But we need to take our example from the Bible. We need to take our example from that what Mary and Joseph did and how they reacted. So with your spiritual child is a blessing. Because those spiritual children are the ones that change the world. They come questioning everything. They come, they change the world. They're not the ones that will sit at the desk job tomorrow because they are so non-conformist that they will give their bosses headache until they throw them out of the office. So they are made for more. Yeah. So it's not in your place to not try to make the child conform because, if obedience is the only thing that you're looking for from your child, you're going to be wrong. That's not what we are supposed to do. Yeah.
Great things don't come from conformists. They are the ones that are seeing the boundaries as barriers, as challenges that they must surmount.
Absolutely.
I remember I attended one program in our children's school, and it was about how that annoying habit of your child might just be their future. That child, like now, Brenda, you said you could build houses with cartons. And I'm sure maybe your mother was tired of it.
Literally the house with cartons.
Like, I'm just realizing what's wrong with this child. I've thrown away this carton. She'll go and bring it from the dustbin and bring it back and start using it to reconstruct things. And yes, as parents, we need to sometimes take a step outside of our own comfort zone to expand our own boundaries. Brenda knows me. If you're a parent, the first thing I'm going to ask you as you're praying for greatness, are you also elevating yourself to be the parent of a great child? I always tell people that Elon Musk's mother, probably with all her planning and everything, she still has migraine every time he tweets, because if we just tweet one thing, she said, this child have disgraced my life. After all the tweets I've done for this child, we just tweet and scatter everything.
Those
But
is
guess
tweets.
what? She will yes, she tweets, and her whole week, her whole month will be inundated with the child. What's he talking about in the outside? Looking out to control him. But guess what? She has raised him a barrier breaker. She has raised him. Remember, now we're going back to our first lesson. Madam Chinelo said, do not raise influences, raise influencers.
Absolutely.
And I say, so bringing it back to Brenda's own now, as you are planning to raise that influencer, just put one side note in the corner. Mommy, guard your heart.
Get
Mommy,
ready.
let's go. Daddy, mommy, pray more. Mommy, daddy, be more objective. Don't be putting all those side notes. NB, be more objective. NB, listen more, talk less. NB, it's not about me, it's about them. Those are the footnotes of all your plans.
Yes, sir.
Those are the footnotes of all your plans. Because like Brenda has a spirited child. She says she has me, I have 4. I call them my 4 pillars that don't move until they are ready to move. But guess what? Before, I think I've even said this before. The 4 of them, the way and manner they show their spiritedness and their stubbornness, right, are different. There are those that they will still talk. When you finish talking, they will agree with you. Quietly, they will just look for one loophole in whatever you have said, and they will just follow the loophole and continue. They are the ones that they are talking, they're like, but mommy, what you are saying is not working. They are telling you they are dead.
Yes.
But there's one that even for primary nursery 2. Nursery 2, the teacher called me one day and said, this is your child. He's the only one that has made me raise my voice in the whole nursery 2. That's for the first time I had to say, but me no buts, because I have a barrier breaker in my house. Everything you say, but that's how you know. But it's not that they are being rude. It's that they don't see why you should limit.
They're thinking. Absolutely.
So in our planning, we shouldn't plan as if we are replicating ourselves, like the engineers that Brenda's mother wanted to do. You know, engineers, when they want to do something, they will say, okay, this is the plan. Plot, measure. We should plan like shepherds. We should plan like shepherds. Okay, I'm planning to have 1,000 sheep. That means I have to have fields that 1,000 sheep can grow in. Sometimes the sheep will jump the fence. Okay, that means I have to take my fence higher. Oh, I need to have shearers that will cut their hair. Maybe if I was having 5 sheep before, I had only 1 shearer, and I have to plan for maybe 20 more shearers. Your plans should be plans that also grow as the children unveil their characters. Your plans should not be cast in stone. Because again, remember what Brenda said, you place your plans should, in fact, those whole plans should be placeholder. Because God can look at all this your plan and say, child of mine, because if you are his own child, you say, who told you? You know what? We have gone on this path. We have acquired all the skills we need. Now we're going to take a hard right to the other direction.
I'm telling you.
So I'm Catholic. As Catholics, we have something we call detachment. What that means is you want something so much, but a little part of you will say, you know what? As much as I want this thing, I will also leave room that in case this is not the way and manner God wants it, or that this is not even what God wants for me, we'll be all right. That's why we commit all our plans to the will of God. So I just thought to put that here before we take questions. I saw someone's question. The question says, well, it's a statement, but there's a question. So I thought to just read it.
Okay.
It says, thank you, coach. God bless you for this. I have plans, thinking in my head though, but now I will write it down. But what can I do with a difficult partner who doesn't even have a vision for his own family too? I love education, but the man I married doesn't even think in this area. He doesn't mind to put the children in public schools, but he's not ready to, because he's not ready to be responsible. It may not be it, but then again, let me just continue. Because actually listening to this, I can do some, I think she always say some planning myself without his support. Note, I have two beautiful children.
Okay. Well done, sis. And God bless you for, having big dreams for your children. Thank you for, all that you love about education. And what I would say is that, many of us deal with being very different from our spouses in terms of what you want for the children. So where to start from is to pray, right? When you pray, prayerfully seek God and say to God that this is what I want for my children. And if God wants it to, I'll give you an example. I wanted my child to go to a particular school, and my husband didn't want it. He wanted her to go to another school. He wanted her to go to boarding school. And I really wanted the school for her because I looked at it and I knew that it would be good for her. It was near the house. It was within our price point, which was excellent, like all around. And I had prayed and fasted for her to pass to get into the school because it was really a competitive school. And when it was now time to get in, she had passed, and then we had to pay. Of course, I'm not the one paying school fees, so his uncle paying school fees. It's not time to pay, and boss is not saying, no, we're not going to the school. I was heartbroken. I was like, how am I going to do this? I'd invested so much in it. But I realized that that was not the time to quarrel. It was even very critical because there was a short time limit to make the payment to reserve the space. So I was so upset, and I was like, we had this conversation. We'd gone to this teacher that written these exams. We had prayed and fasted. Like, hello, I just changed your mind now. So sometimes it happens, right? So what I did, I just left at the feet of Jesus, and I said, God, I'm not going to lose sweat over this. I prayed. And I asked you to get this child into the school. You did. At least she has passed. So now how she gets in there is your business. I'm not losing any sleep over it. I knew that I couldn't bring the money. I could not raise the money by the next day. It wasn't going to happen. So the only thing that needed to be done was for him to bring the money. And I wasn't going to have a fight over it. So I just went to bed, like literally. So the next day came. This conversation was on Sunday. I think the results came out on Saturday. So conversation was a Sunday, and I went to church and I just laid at God's feet. And on Monday morning I went to work. Like no word about the conversation. I just went to work. Do you people know that by 12 when he was calling me to say, are you going to pay for the child's school? I was like, You say, please leave whatever you're doing. Leave now and go and pay for the child's school. I've sent the money to your account. I'm like, dear Father, is this how you used to work? When they say that what God cannot do does not exist. It's absolutely true. I'm married to an honorable man, so he's very, very spirited. He's very opinionated. He knows what he wants, and you cannot just change his mind just because you can speak English. It's not going to happen. So what you do to those people is to carry them to their father, right? Say, Lord, you are his father. They said the heart of kings is in your hands. I've dropped the heart of my king in your hand. Take charge of the situation. If it is your will for this to happen, for this child to go here, make it work. And God works amazingly that sometimes it even comes to them like it's their idea. They come to you with this and they start bulldozing the thing that, now let's go now. This is how we should have been like, something I was suggesting since you were not listening. Wow. And I quickly follow quickly before you change your mind. So that's one way to do it. Don't fight. Do not fight. The devil looks for things to cause cracks in marriages, and you don't want the children to be a reason why you're fighting. Don't fight. Make your case. Stay your peace, and then hold your peace. The Bible says you should be still and watch me fight for you. Just be still. You cannot be fighting over. I've learned this over time. It took me a while to get to this point. So don't think that I didn't used to fight. I used to fight. I was once a fighter, but it never got me anything. The fighting would only cause quarrel. The next 2 weeks, you're not talking to each other. Everybody's annoyed. There's tension everywhere. And what does it serve? You don't get what you want. So instead of fighting, say your piece, make your case, and then leave it. Go and drop the remaining at God's feet. If God wants it to happen, he will make it happen. Remember, the heart of kings is in his hand. Yeah. So please, my dear sister, make your plan, make your vision, make your dream. prayerfully consulting with God and have a conversation with him on a lazy day. The day when you guys are chilling, maybe it's a public holiday, everybody's in the house, you just made one pepper soup, say, sweetie, I went to one class, so they thought of so and so thing, and this is what I came up with. What do you think? He says, who is taking you to all these expensive schools? Are you joking? It's just God, though. Let's see what God can do, and I mean, when I wanted to put children in secondary school, we did not write exams like British International School, Green Springs. There's no points, right? I just knew that it wasn't in our price point. They are excellent schools, but it wasn't in our price points. And I didn't bother to go and write those exams and come up with my husband under pressure to say, you must put children here. This is the best school in Lagos. So that's where they must go. I know what we can see what our pocket is. There's no need to be deceiving ourselves. It's times 4. So even while you're aiming high, remember to be realistic. Okay, remember to be realistic. So that you don't put your husband under pressure and he has to go and be running helter-skelter and borrowing money for school fees. You don't want that. So look for the best within your income brackets. Maybe a little stretch, but always remember that you don't want to just go and cause unnecessary fights over what's not worth it. Because sometimes people just say, "Oh, my children, my friends' children, all that."
Okay. Am I the only one who's lost Brenda, or is it? If you can hear Brenda, please type YY in the group, in the chat. Okay, you can. All right. So let me address it on my own end. Thank you. Okay, no. Okay, Brenda, can you hear us? Are you here? Okay, I think she's having network issues on her end. Let's just give her a minute. For those, I believe she's out. She'll be back in, I'm sure. So for those who have questions, please add more questions. Yes, I believe we can hear you now. Okay. So I want to pin you again so that you're back in the spotlight. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I think my network had a glitch for a minute. Okay, so where did you guys lose me?
I believe you were talking about how to put the when you're doing the plan for school, you put a plan, but you don't stretch beyond your capacity, too much beyond your capacity,
Okay.
Yeah. So that I believe that's where it was.
Okay, yes. I said don't put your, because many men nowadays are under immense pressure. I mean, from women who come and want their children to go to certain schools with no intention of even pitching into the school fees, right? Sometimes you say, oh, my child must go to so-and-so school. Aiming high is good, but you need to look at what you guys have. What can you honestly afford? And if you find out that he cannot honestly afford it, are you ready to pitch in? Are you ready to put it together? Do you understand? This is something that you can conveniently do. You don't want, school fees is something that comes every 3 months. It's a recurrent expenditure. It's not a one-off. So you don't want to go and put yourself under undue pressure. Like, for example, go and put your child in a school that is 4 million naira when all that your husband earns is what, 1 million a month. So he needs to work 4 months to pay the school fees, and then in 3 months' time it's due again. Hello, doesn't make sense. Are you people not going to eat? Is there not going to be rent? Is there not going to be?
That's actually bad planning.
Very bad. So you need to actually ask yourself the right questions. What can we afford this? And look at it, and before you start to go and write exams. Me, I don't write some kind of exams. Like, for example, I don't write the Waterman, BIS, Green Springs, excellent schools, but I won't write them because I cannot afford them right now on our pocket. It's not in our price point right now. So there's no point writing it and getting child feel all happy and excited about, oh, beautiful school, I want to go there. And then say, sorry, we can't afford it. No need, no write the exam. Go and look for the exam in your price point. Aim for the best and the highest in your price point. Stretch a little more, even in some cases. But you don't want to be under undue pressure every 3 months. It's a recurrent expenditure, and so you must be wise in selecting. Okay.
And I was going to say something before another question comes up.
Okay.
I was going to say that again, this is in line with that spirit of detachment. In as much as we plan, even if we even feel like God spoke to us, He gave us this, sometimes it might just be our letting go that would unlock, the grace. God might want also, because remember, as we are planning for our children, God is planning not only for your child, He's planning for your whole family, He's planning for you, He's planning for your spouse. So imagine what that takes to make sure that everybody's needs is met by
It's
one
being accounted
individual
for.
action at every point in time. And remember, He sees for all eternity. So He's seeing
This is the big
your
picture.
future, your souls, the big picture, So sometimes I've learned, so I have similar stories with Brenda where I've said, oh, I want to do this. My spouse is like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? But one thing I've learned as I grow, deeper in my journey with the Spirit is that I've learned to respect my husband's instinctive gifts. Because sometimes I notice that when I'm not in fighting mode and I listen to his prompt, he has remember, he's a child of God, so he came with his own talents, full package, complete. And he
You're
was
not
destined to be
denying
my
that
husband
sense.
and my partner. So that means that there's something he's bringing to the table. So
Mm-hmm.
even if our spouses are not stepping up in certain areas, there are other areas they step up. And whether we like it or not, they were destined to be the heads of our homes. So
Yeah.
the way and manner you would even bring up your request should not even be in a challenging form. It should be like we are on the same side. Yes, you might be ticked off that the person is not pulling their weight, but at the same time, you need to get response from that person. And that response
Because
will be
he's the
a
father of the
reaction
child.
to you. Exactly. Do you understand? So he's the father of the child. So sometimes when I'm doing certain things, I always tell myself, remember, this is the father of this child, and this man loves this child. My husband literally tell you every day that I'm ready to die for my children. And we
Even
are
I will not
begging
get
for.
there for a former life.
You understand? So I say, Uncle, please don't die for them, live for them, and
Don't
leave the
die,
dying part.
live for us.
No, no, it's not really for us, because it's not just living for the children, it's living for me too.
Live
So
for us.
once the bottom line for us moms is that we should first establish that our husbands love us and love our children. Once you have no doubt about that, everything else is on advisory notes. If you can do it, fine. If you can't, or he says absolutely no, perhaps this is the one thing God wants us to use to learn submission or obedience or partnership.
Yeah.
And he will bring up so many other opportunities. So we will plan. But let's not plan like we're planning alone. There are also people here who are single parents for reasons, that life happens. And
Yeah.
there are different circumstances. You may not have to talk with a spouse, but you may have to perhaps partner with family. Maybe you lost your spouse and now you're having to raise them. And maybe sometimes your husband's family are interested because, these are their family too. Indulge them to some extent. Once you establish, you see, people underestimate the power of love. Once you establish that somebody has your good, right? The way and manner you view whatever actions they are taking
You
should be different
receive
from
whatever they
if you are.
bring. Yes.
Yes, you should look at it. Don't look at it as if everything is a hostile takeover or that everybody is trying to always place their power. Once you say this person loves this child in question, okay, what really is this person trying to achieve? Look behind the intent. So this goes for difficult mommies talking to daddies who are trying to talk to difficult mommies who are trying to talk to difficult daddies, in-laws, whatever. Always look at the intent. Always look at the baseline love. Does this person love my child? Have they exhibited love before towards this child? Perhaps they will have good intention. They just don't know how to express themselves. So in our planning, we should carry the stakeholders. We plan in the office. You know that
Yes.
stakeholder management is very critical.
It's very key.
Sometimes it can make or break your project.
Absolutely.
You are finished doing this beautiful project. there's one small guy in one small unit like this. Maybe it's even, I won't even say accounts, because accounts, everybody knows that money is important. Maybe it's human resources in one small
Or
department.
strategic planning, or what kind of place like that.
And even good, human resources. Meanwhile, you are building IT solution. Me, I mean, IT service, IT. Be like, I bet HR could be all right. No problem. By the time you now want all staff to use you, that's when you will now remember that you need to send email and consequence management. You have down roadblock, because guess what? You do not carry a stakeholder along. So parents, why am I telling this story? It's excellent to plan. We have seen how to plan. But the way and manner we involve our partners, our stakeholders in that plan
It's very
is
critical.
sometimes even more important than the plan itself. It's critical.
Mm-hmm.
And what we are trying to do is it's all about the good of the child or the children,
Mm.
as the case may be. So sometimes you may need to stoop to conquer. Maybe that is the
Mm.
day that you will wash your hand very well, prepare one kind of soup because you are a high-flying CEO in the office. You cannot be doing all these things again. Perhaps maybe it's time to do it again, just to get the person in the right mood so that you can present the plan. After all, it's for the good of your child. So I just thought
Mm-hmm.
to also bring that in here. Brenda, it's like
Very
you have done excellent job here. I'm not even having questions. So it's
much
like
attire
we'll
me.
just be gisting until we'll give extra 2 minutes. And if there are no questions, we'll have an early close today. So people, this is the time to get your questions in, your comments. Let's have some reactions in the chat room. Okay, so, Yowande says she has, there's a question above.
Please help us.
Someone could kindly bring up that question. Maybe I missed it. I'm quite.
Maybe they should react to the question so we can find it. Like me, I was thrown out, so I don't have the question anymore on my chat. So somebody, maybe.
Yes.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie. Yowande, if you still have access to the question, can you repost it? I think I must have missed it by chance.
And there was
Okay,
also somebody
yes.
who put the question at the
It's her
beginning.
question. Thank you, Ma, for these great insights. Please, for one who has young kids, how best does one identify skills they may have? It appears to me that like one may have to try several before honing in on which may be great for them. But again, how many can one practically try?
Okay, excellent question. Very good question. So you have young kids, and to be honest, your young kids they themselves don't even know all the things that they can, so all we need to do at this time is to expose them to as many things as possible. So maybe you can have a guide from the school. What does the school offer in terms of extracurricular? Throw them open to as many as practical, and then you see the ones that they lean towards, right? When I threw my children into different things, there was one that was like, oh, I don't like this golf. The another one was like, oh my God, the coaches were like, this one is a natural. Just throw them into as many things as possible, and then you start to find the ones that they thrive in. Then you can start to cut down, remove, replace, and all of that. That's how to find what they're good at, to throw them into as many as possible. And part of what we can learn also is like, when I always say reduce screen time, when you say, what would they be doing if they're not on the screen? They can be drawing. Give them paper. I always have plenty crayons in my house, crayons and A4 paper. Just give them, go and draw. Sometimes, sometimes it's even biro that we used to draw. I found one has started learning how to cartoon. He does excellent cartoons because of when I send them away and say, go and do something, don't disturb me. Just go and draw something. So that you find out that they can draw. You find out that they can write. You find out that they can, all kinds of things. There's one that reads like in record time. And I used to think that he was just flipping the pages. I said, yeah, come back and tell me what you read. He would download the whole story. So I didn't even know that he had such, such great skills in reading so fast. So you wouldn't know until you throw them out into all of those things. Throw them out. There's one of my children that is an excellent runner. How did I discover? I would take him out to say, yeah, walk with me. And we're going to take a walk around the estate. This boy would run. We'll get to the street, we'll run to the end of the street and run back. I'm still walking at the beginning. By the time we have finished walking on the streets in the estate, he's still raring to go. He has high energy. And that was the only thing that was going to be able to help me to get him to sleep. So I put him into inter-house sports and said, you know what? You have a runner here. And the guy came home with gold. So you can't tell what they can do until you just test it. So test as many as possible. They are young enough to and have a lot of energy to be able to do as many things as
Yeah.
possible. And as you try them, you
Yeah.
will find the ones that will do that, and you can now narrow down. I hope this answers
Yeah.
your question.
Yeah. Mr. Obineme also had the same thing about deep dive on how to spot the gifts. I guess that's tied to that. I would also say that for children, for young children, I love what Brenda said about reducing digital time and just letting them have. I also had a lot of printouts for things to color, activity sheets, crayons. You see, and the thing is, if you're observant, right, it's in the small details.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you realize that you give your child an activity sheet, they'll finish it and then they'll make a plane out of it when they are done. You see that that
Mm-hmm.
child is someone who is creative, that takes things, you understand? Or you tell the
Yeah.
other child to, maybe you have a child that always likes hanging around in the kitchen when you're cooking. Can I help? Can I help?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to come out as a blatant, not for all children. I mean,
Mm.
I have children who, I have a child who's in SS1. It is now in this SS1 that we are beginning to finally narrow down, okay, I might like engineering. And me, I'm not even pleased because somewhere, she's still saying something about one fashion, one thing, one thing. This child, as of 2 years ago, was like, well, if I can do something that would help me, use my musical skills and draw on the side, I'd also like to do some science. She wants to do everything.
We'll
And
be quick
what
to
really,
cut that.
yes, now I remember when I was thinking about the whole thing and I was trying to figure out what to do. But I discussed it with Aya, and Aya said, "Who's the producer there?" And in my mind, I was
Mm,
like, "Wow, I didn't even think about that." Do you understand?
mm,
So the thing
mm.
is, your children's talents won't come out with a label. This one is going to do this. Even when they
Yeah.
have higher, more obvious talents. Like Brenda said something. There's something most people didn't pick up in her story. Brenda has written 10 books, right? Do you remember when in her story she said she liked to write stories before she even got to the architectural part? Guess
Mm,
what? 30 something years later, she is writing book. So
mm,
no talent is lost. In fact, the Japanese mothers do this on overdrive. Once they identify any talent in their child, they're hiring tutors immediately. They're exploring those
mm,
talents. That's why these days you can't match Japanese children in
mm.
academics. And don't make
Yeah.
any, no, nothing is wasted. All my children play the piano right now. Do you know why? When I was new in my marriage, my husband and I went to the UK. We visited my aunt and my uncle. And my cousin is someone that is very, very, very restless. And when I visited the first time, they were complaining about it, how it's affecting his schoolwork. Then I visited about a year later, and I was asking my uncle how it was going, and they said she's much calmer now. That one of the teachers recommended that he should start piano lessons. That has a way of disciplining and
Yes.
bringing the child to find themselves,
Yeah, no,
and that is really
absolutely.
affecting his schoolwork. And I did that. So my first three children happily wanted to play the piano right from nursery school. My fourth child it was not even interested in as please, this piano and this sitting down and be doing something on. He's a very gregarious child. Anything involving sitting down, it is not system that is keeping him on the sheet. Then he's not interested. He rather play football, basketball, all of that.
Mm,
And the thing is, by the time I think it was his sister. His sister that is in JS1 now. When she was doing her a manifesto, she was practicing for her manifesto because she ran for prefectship in primary 6. And he heard the things she was saying and all that. And then when she finished, this young man came to me and said, "Mom, I want to start learning how to play the piano because I think I want to be the music prefect in my time." I was very
oh,
confused. I did first of all, guess what? There's no music prefect in that school. It's in their
I
other
know, right?
school that they have music prefect, right? So I was like, which vision is this young man? So you that we are grooming for head boy, you want to music prefect. I just cautioned myself. I just said, take your win first. He said, I want to start learning piano. I said, okay, you know what we're gonna do? I will
Mm,
talk to the teacher. He'll give you free lessons for 1 month. If you do these free lessons for 1 month and you don't miss any, you don't grumble, you don't complain, then we'll start paying for classes. Guess what? My son has already taken his first international exam within a year plus of doing his piano. He's the only child of mine that has never complained about piano lessons. The others, they like it, but sometimes they feel like it's an interruption. For my child who's in SS1, we're taking breaks from time to time because she has schoolwork, she has all this. But guess what? See, no matter what schedule he has, piano lesson is a constant. Constant. So you see that there's a way,
I hope he's going for
you
music
bring up. He will go for head boy, and we will be head boy that can be playing piano for graduation and all that. Because what we do with our kids too, we put them out there. Exactly, Amy. Timing is everything. So as parents, I think the most important thing we should do is be very observant, prayerfully observant. Because those nuances will come up. Imagine if I thought he was joking. After all, there's no music prefect in his school, so I can always say, he's joking. But I took him seriously and I challenged him. Until date, he has not dropped that challenge. He has run with it. And bear in mind, these children that play piano, because all my kids play piano, they take international exams, they are at, it's setting very serious. They will take it very seriously in my home, because that's something that we know that would also enrich their portfolio for university. Come rain, come shine, they are practicing for their piano, they are practicing for their exams. So you, the parent, you have to also be the one ensuring that you keep them focused. You keep them, when they want to let go, you remember the plan. And then another thing that Brenda said, let them know your why. My children know why we are building a portfolio for them and why we are putting certain things intentionally in it. They tell me their dreams of the schools they want to go. I do the work. I go online. I get the admission processes. I get the fees. We sit down. I say, see, this beautiful school you want to go to, this kind of thing you want to do. Hello, my children are in secondary school. At least 3 are in secondary school. So maybe primary school is a bit too early, but as they get older, do certain things that trick their mind to be intentional about their futures. I go and tell them, this is what the entry criteria is. This is what the grade criteria is. This is what the school fees looks like. You people are for, I cannot afford to be paying this. My husband and I want to retire, have peace. So we cannot be paying all this abnormal school fees right now. So you have to do scholarship. This is what it takes to do scholarship. Guess what's happening now? My first child, in fact, if anything, I tell her to stop studying at sometimes so that she can rest, because she knows what she's working for. She knows the goal is very clear in her eyes. So I'm the one who sometimes at 12, 1 a.m., I'm saying, enough. You need to have a rounded life. I'm the one saying, I know you don't want to do piano, but you need to do that. You need to add it. Now, my second child is in JS2. Of course, as a typical young man, got excited about school, got distracted, got this. I reminded him of the conversations. And guess what is happening this time? He is the one pushing me. Mommy, you said we're going to do this, that. So parents, as we plan, let your children in on the plan. Also take their own input. Take their own input into that plan. Make sure that they feel like they own this plan. Yes, exactly. Communication is very important. Thank you very much. And yes, we do try to embody it. We are failing forward. Sometimes we miss it, but we learn, we learn, unlearn, and we come and we start telling from our experiences.
And it's so critical what you said. Okay, sorry, when you finish, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Okay, and the thing is, you need to take your children's input in the plans. You can't plan their lives for them like a roadmap and say, do this, do this. They are also planning for themselves, consciously and unconsciously. So every time you will pause, then you tell them, okay, what do you think? What do you want about this? Even when their plans are bold and audacious and are choking you in your sleep, as if you remember your child's plan, your eye will open, put it there. Give them some sense of reality, but don't kill that dream, because Elon Musk, I tell people, Elon Musk must have told his mother that he wants to go to the moon, and she did not faint. He said, let's go. Highest, if he doesn't go to the moon, he will build aircraft if you cannot build spacecraft. So let's not kill our children's dreams. And then the last thing I'm going to say before I let Brenda go back in, I do an exercise with my children, an exercise that I preach with everyone. When they get to milestone classes, like when they get to primary 6, JS3, we write their CVs or we update their CVs. You know what that is? It's a visual reminder of all they have achieved to date. Those CVs are not just purely academic. It also includes all their extracurricular in schools. And it's the first time I did it with my first child. She was just so silent for a while. And I said, remember when I say that you are building your permanent record? Because that's what I used to remind them about these things. You're building your permanent record. I said, is there anything we can change on this CV right now? She said, no. I said, imagine if you had dropped the ball. And I said, the only thing we can do is add to it. So now you're going into secondary school. You can't do less than what is here. If anything, you must do more. And so that's how we encourage them to stick with the plan, even when, because they will get tired, they'll get frustrated, they'll get distracted. But your job is to be that best coach that ensures that they stick with the plan. Brenda, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I remember the first day, if you told me about this CV, I was like, mommy, why is that not too much? Is it not too serious? But yes, as you guys are reacting, that's how I reacted. But I've seen the value of it. I've seen the value of it, and I dare say that I was blown. Like, who is this woman that's really thinking far, ahead of her times? But that's the value of good and wholesome relationships, right? So the things that are working for me, I'm sharing with her. The things that are working for her, she's sharing with you. What is the content of your own CV? You're asking what's going on CV. What's going on with your own CV right now? It's exactly
what's the content of the CV?
Exactly what it is. You write the child's name, the education. What have you done in primary school? That's so certificate, and then all the skills that you have. What is in your own normal CV right now? That's what will be there. What are the certificates, awards you have received? Everything you write it all. If you find that
put it there. What did they get prize in anything? Put it there.
Find some things are empty. You now realize that we are low on extracurricular or low on awards. You start working towards awards so that you can fit it in the next time. That's what it does. It just shows you your report card literally in a summary sheet. It's powerful. It's so powerful. And that's something we're talking about dreams, about when your children's dreams just make you feel like, hey, God, the Bible says that as far as your eyes can see, that's what I will give to you. You can't feature, F-E-A-T-U-R-E, in a future you haven't seen. So even when you are thinking about the visualization for your child, you must see it. It must be clear. You must have a clear picture, and then you walk back from that picture to it. So even when you have children that are older, you can ask them, what is your dreams? What are your plans? Then tailor it together. They must be able to see it. And if you have the picture in your head, you can sell it to them, even for the younger children, because they must be able to see. The way she's explaining it now, the child that is reading by herself, that nobody is telling what to do, because she has seen it. She's gone online, she's seen the school, she knows what she wants to be, and she knows that we don't have the money for that.
As in with Google Pictures, she knows where the front gate of this school is. They have this campus, that campus. She's seen it, like you can touch it.
So she knows the goal. It's clear. And if any of you can be honest with yourself, if you've ever had a goal so clear, you would see it done. When you hear that I've written so many books, you'll be wondering how, hey, with this woman's life that looks so busy. I'll tell you very easily. The first 3 books I wrote were within 6 months, and it was almost like a miracle. Like I did not really. I wanted to write a book very badly, and I said to myself that I was going to do it. I didn't know how. First thing I had to do was to go and get a coach and learn all the processes, because I can write, but I needed to know what would happen next. After I write, what would I do next and all of that. So I found out because I learned the process, and then I started to write. I found out that I was busy. I had 4 children. I had a baby at the time also. I think Yoma must have been really young. So I had a lot of work on my hands. But what did I do? I needed to write this book for plenty of reasons that I will not know. But the first thing I did was to find the time. And what did I do? I took out television. Now, I don't really like TV, but there's a program that I must watch every day. I don't really like TV. So it's not like I can sit down on TV for hours on end, but there was one particular program that I must not miss. It was every day, and I must watch it every day. If you remember them,
I remember. Yes.
And you know how it is when you sit down and watch that one program, the next one will come up, you will find yourself still there and everything. So that was what was making me come to TV every day. And the first thing I did was to turn off the TV. I turned off the TV for everybody. I told my children, and I told myself there will be no TV on school days. And they would see me out on the TV, and all of us would be sitting there and would be working. As they are working on their schoolwork, I'm working on my book for that 1 hour in which I was typically assigned to the TV. Now, I did not abandon my program. I have a PVR, so I'll just record everything and then binge watch at the weekend, right? In fact, I even realized that DSTV had a binge watch package of that same program. It was coming, it was already there. And so the thing that is limiting you guys, you're not limited by what you don't have. You're limited by what you have that you don't use.
Yes.
There is something in you that you have. You're already saying, oh, I can't do this. I don't have time. It's a lie. There is time. There are hidden pockets of time. My books were written in that 1 hour daily, and also in the times I spent in traffic, in the times I spent sitting down waiting for meetings to happen. I was typing on my notepads. I typed a 40,000 word book on my phone notepad before it ever went to the.
Wrote mine on my phone as well. Graphics, everything.
Do everything on the go. It's time. But that's not the purpose of today's conversation. I just wanted to encourage you guys that your children can be great. You also can be great. I love you guys. And since you have no more questions, I'm about to sign out. We'll see each other on the group.
Yeah.
Ify, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Today was an awesome day. And I know the rest of the day was going to be awesome. For those of you who haven't joined us in our WhatsApp group, Chiamaka, could you quickly just post that link here so that if those who are here who haven't joined us can join in? I hope you received a lot of wisdom and learning today. If you did, please, show us some love in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate your time and your effort. If you have more questions, please just post them in the WhatsApp group and let us know. Thank you, Abumdeme. I saw your message here. Thank you. You said communication is actually powerful. Even without trying to sound like you're pitching something, you maintain the vibration around the certain concept for long. It will rub off on those around you. Thank you. And you say you're happy to be here just to listen by listening to all the speakers. Something that shouldn't be there is chipping away by active listening. You are very right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mommy B,